Okay, welcome back. I know I say this every time, but I'm really looking forward to this conversation. We're going to call it Pricing Your Services Correctly. This is going to be the first of many discussions, and I would venture to say that pricing your services correctly, aka also known as undercharging or giving away too many friendly discounts, in my opinion, has to be the single biggest issue in the beauty industry today, in the salon, behind the chair, in your take home pay, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to nip that issue in the bud once and for all. Why do I say it's a big issue? Because there isn't a time that I go out into the salon and when we get to this topic, or when I'm at a Marriott doing an an inter seminar with a whole bunch of people, when we get to the undercharging friendly discount point, the whole room breaks open. So here we go. Now, in the last lesson that I did, it was in the consultation file. It was this whole lesson around finding out how many of your friends that used to be guests would be interested in reconsult. If you haven't watched that lesson, do so now. I made a statement in there that I want to stand on the shoulders of that statement in this lesson. And it said, the moment you befriend your guest, not only does the experience that your guest is having changes of you, but your relationship with your guest changes from a formal relationship to what we're going to call a casual friendship. Now, before we go any further, I went there a little bit in the last lesson, and I really want to go there now. I want to talk about the profound difference between being guest friendly, which I think is very important, and when we cross over the line and we start making guests our friends. Now, with regard to being guest friendly, it's important that we're nice and we're kind and we're warm, that there's a certain amount of socializing in the visit that's very, very necessary. We're showing interest in our guests, not only as our guests, but as people. You know, they come in, gee, last time I saw you, you were going to go on vacation. How'd that go? Maybe they want to check in with you about how your life is going. Nothing wrong with that. Very important. It goes a long way around the bonding process, building rapport. However, when your guest becomes a friend and you go over that line of making guests your friends, all of a sudden you find yourself compromising on what you talk about. You start making exceptions with regard to what you begin charging your guests for services that you're rendering. And before you know it, you have two or more price lists. You've got the prices for, friends that used to be your guests, and then you've got the prices that you charge for guests that you haven't made into your friend yet. And when you look at those prices for the same services, sometimes there's a 10%, a 15%, or a $5, $10 difference. You start looking at how many people yesterday, last week, last month were on your book as your friend, and all of a sudden that dollar amount goes way, way up. And you, my friend, if this is left unchecked, you start feeling trapped. I mean, I love this illustration that we took out over the top. It's you're behind the chair, you're starting to, render services or have a conversation, and you start picking up this energy from your friend that I'm getting a deal on this, right? You're not going to charge me for that, are you? And at the end of the day, especially a day where you got, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people on your book, you look how many of them were friends, how many of them got friendly discounts, and you leave home feeling overworked, underpaid, burned out, and at times you start getting resentful, and you're not even clear about why. Do I resent my friend for putting this pressure on me, or am I resenting myself because I'm not doing anything about it? Here's the other thing it does. I think that it'll hold you back from not only charging correctly, but also having conversations and encouraging people to get more involved in your business. All of a sudden you start feeling fearful. And I hear it all the time. I'm afraid to charge correctly because I'm going to lose all of my guests. And then, of course, I'm going to lose all of my money. That's the narrative. And if it's not that, it's I pick up this energy. I become addicted to approval. And I'm afraid my approval ratings are going to go down, and the people that I'm serving aren't going to like me as much. And frankly, I've become very, very dependent on them liking me. So I start feeling guilty about charging them. They've even told me about their spouses that have been laid off and how difficult it is for them to just, it's tough times. And I find myself feeling guilty charging them regular price. So I give them a friendly discount. And in essence, I'm not charging what I'm worth. Am I getting your attention? If you're in this conversation, you should be resonating big time. I call it the OMG BFO, the oh my God, blinding flash of the obvious. That's so true. My name is written on it. Now, if left unchecked, you can get to a place, and you can see what I have here, an illustration I pulled out of a little over the top, and that is that you all of a sudden start paying the price, and the price you're paying is what I call the price of nice. It's costing you a lot of money. Sometimes we'll call it the disease to please. At the end of the day, as I said, overworked, underpaid, burned out, and resentful, and I'm plagued. I start doubting myself. All of a sudden, my self-esteem is low, and I don't feel good about myself. Now, what I want to say to you is that I would never raise this kind of problem awareness without providing to you a series of lessons on how do we get you out of that dilemma. We're going to have some following this program. I've got 2 or 3 other lessons I'm going to help you to walk through. These lessons will give you the courage that you need to get on the other side of it. I'm going to be loaning you my courage. I'm going to call that encouragement. And as you probably remember, courage doesn't mean I'm not afraid. Courage means I have the willingness to disobey the fear that's going to come up in me when I take these actions that are going to get me out of the business of friendly discounts. And what I'm going to be drawing on is a concept out of Over the Top called name, claim, and tame, because it's profound. What we're going to be doing, we've already started it in this lesson, is we're beginning to name the problem, name the issues, name the tendencies. Naming it is all about coming into the awareness, the mindfulness to see what the dilemma is, because what we can see, we can stop. What we don't see clearly tends to stop us. That's what naming is about. Claiming is once we name it, we claim we're going to accept responsibility for it. That if it's going to be, it's up to me. It's you, me, we, us getting you out of this dilemma. We're going to have those conversations with no blame or shame. We're not going to be blaming the friend that used to be a guest or shaming ourselves. We don't have to do any of that. We don't have to make anyone wrong before making something right, making something better. And then last but not least, at the end of each lesson, I'm going to give you some actions that are going to tame, dissolve, resolve, solve the problem. Actions that not only solve the problem, but are going to change your life for the better, change your life for good, because we know, nothing really changes if nothing changes. So we want to make sure giving you the action. Speaking of actions, what I'm going to want you to do between now and the next time we come together to prepare you for the next lesson, I want you to go back. I want you to gather all of your appointments in your book for the past month. I want you to go through each one of those appointments, look at the names, circle all of the names of those guests that have become your friends. I'd like you to make note of whatever you charge them, if you charge them a special rate. And I'd like you to total that up, because that's going to give you and me not so much the cost of the problem, but how much more money you're going to earn once we get you on the other side of that problem. And when you're doing all this, be mindful to not shame yourself or blame others. So we've given you a lot to do between now and the next lesson. Go ahead, take that action, and I'll catch up with you in the next conversation.